Good morning, everyone. How are you here today? I'm Reverend Scott Olson. It's truly my pleasure to be here with you today. We've had a big weekend here at Ahiah already. We hosted Amma, who is a living saint from India, and they had 2 days of functions at Ahiah here. We had about 300 people here on Friday that kind of came through on the entire day, and then they did a meditation event yesterday, and so it was a lovely time. And you know, one of the comments that they made over and over again was the lovely energy that we have here at Ahiah. And you know, I think that's true. It's one of the things that I noticed the very first time I came here was, you know, I walked through those brown gates and I just had to stop because I felt this overwhelming sense of peace. And I think for those of you that were here just a few minutes ago in the meditation service, that's the energy, right? That energy. And so thank you, Chris, for leading that meditation service. So we want to go ahead and get started with our Sunday celebration this morning. I am a little bit punchy this morning because I was here from 6 in the morning to about 11:30 at night for the last two nights. So fortunately, we have a guest speaker because I'm not sure what would come out of my mouth today. But we're going to have a lot of fun. So please let me go ahead and introduce a few of the people that make this possible here on a Sunday. And I want to also welcome our viewers online, all those lovely members and others that join us every Sunday. So today we have our music team. I want to start with them. And first and foremost, our guest singers today are Connie Rouse and Stefana Dottis. Let's give them a hand. And then for the rest of our music team, we have Chris Glick, and we have Brian, we have Leon, who is doubling as sound today, right over there. And then we have other people, our practitioners. And Chris today is also our practitioner today, who's going to be doing our invocation reading. And he'll also be doing a power talk a little bit too. And then there are people that help us to, you know, manage the technology and be volunteers in all the different ways that they're volunteers. So I want to say thank you to Harris back there, who's tickling the keyboard keys to put us online. And then we have our youth program. You know, our youth program is a huge deal for us, and we have Miss Lisa Ortiz as our youth and family ministry director, and she puts in so much effort here. And I want to say thank you also to Malachi and to Matthias, who do our teen program. So with that having been said, I'd like to go ahead and ask our music team to come up, and we're going to start off with a congregational song. So I'd like to invite you to go ahead and stand as we sing. The lyrics will be up here on the screen. And for those of you at home, you know, sing as loud as you possibly can at home, because nobody else will hear you. It'll be wonderful. All right, so take it away.
For you, and here I'll abide. shine its light as me, as you so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Beautiful. And now you may be seated, please.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Ahiah. Today I'm not only playing piano, I'm talking, which is fine. My name is Chris Glick. I'm one of the practitioners here, licensed practitioners. And if you heard my meditation, you heard me talk about some principles that we do at Ahiah. And I want to just right now welcome everybody here. And I want to just say that in this welcoming, we are welcoming you into the spirit of Ahiah. We are, you are, I am, God is. This is really what we are. I give thanks for this, knowing that what I am is the same as what God is. I know that God is everything. So everybody in here is that presence. And just like in the meditation, we connect on a deep level. Today, this moment is our moment of connection as Ahiah. We're connected with the internet, with all those people. I bless every one of them. I bless every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being. I give thanks for the ministers, for Reverend Scott, for the musicians, for the ushers, for everybody who's here bringing your presence, your being. That's who we are. That's who we show up as. And in this knowing, I give thanks. I always give thanks. When I say this, there's a feeling that comes through me. That's because right now I'm talking about our connection with the all, the presence, spirit. And I release this as perfect. So join me in saying together, and so it is, amen and amen. Thank you. I'm going to read something from the Science of Mind magazine. And this one is called, it's from June 13th. So we're kind of projecting into what is. Okay. So, and this is really cool. It says, I accept what is. Don't go changing to try to please me. I love you just the way you are. You recognize the Billy Joel song. My body is the body of God, the living spirit almighty. Ernest Holmes. in The Science of Mind quoted that, page 261, 2. So this story, when my wife and I went on our first safari on the African continent, we spoke about how amazed we were at the variety of plants, trees, greens, flowers, grasses, birds, and of course, all the wild beasts of the Serengeti. There was an endless display of the multiplicity and the unity of nature. All life breathes the same air, warmed by the same sun, yet all of life is distinct. Even when we saw a dazzle, I never heard of a dazzle, but a dazzle of zebras. When we looked closely, each individual stood out on its own. Human beings share this amazing diversity, and yet we sometimes resist. We resist and labor towards a more uniform look, especially when it comes to our amazing bodies. We are bombarded with images of the perfect male or female form. No space for gender nonconforming or transgender people or anyone outside the norm in most of the mass media. Each of us, as we are in any given moment, is a unique expression of life. We can be more love in the world by honoring, caring for, and tending to the miracle we move around in on the earth. This includes accepting ourselves in our many renditions. I'll say that again. That includes accepting ourselves in our many renditions. The one who looked back at us in the mirror at 7 and the same one looking back at 17 or 70. Our bodies are a manifestation of what we have experienced. We can accept it all and continue to evolve. The affirmation, today, I accept and approve of myself, including my body, just as it is. Say that with me, if you will. Today, I accept and approve of myself, including my body, just as it is. Just like the song, just the way you are. It's just what it is. Thank you, Ahiah. I will turn the mic over to our senior minister, Scott Olson. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and ask our music team to come back up. And while they're coming up, I'd love for you guys to give each other a nice, warm Ahiah welcome. That just means to turn to the people around you and give them a nice wave. Just say hi a little bit. It's so good to see you all here. And I will give the people that are online a nice wave. It's good to see you here also. All right. So, Connie, Stefana, take it away.
Good morning, Ahiah. Happy Sunday to you. The theme this month, of course, is Emerging with Pride. And Stefana and the band and I would like to share a song beautifully written by Liebe Sifre. And it's a song about the strength of the human spirit. How no matter you try to push us down, no matter how much you try to take from us, we are a strong people. We are of God power, and we are resilient. Hope you enjoy.
The higher you build your barrier, the taller I become. fades away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Your lies will come tumbling. Deny my place in time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind you. 'Cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist that we're just not good enough, good enough. When we know better, just look them in the eye and say, we're gonna do it anyway. 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 There's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. There's something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh, no. There's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. There'll always be something inside so strong.
Yes, yes, yes. Something inside. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Stefana. That was beautiful. So, This month we're talking about merging with pride. So it is Gay Pride Month, and we're following along with that idea and supporting our gay community. And but there's a lot of spiritual truth in that, merging with pride. No matter what sexuality we are, no matter how we're showing up in the world, there's truth to those statements. And last week I talked a little bit about that, and I talked about emerging through the muck. And I asked you guys, I said, send me some emails and give me some acronyms for muck. And I'd put them in the newsletter, and I did. And I got you guys to vote on them. And you'll never believe it, but it was a tie between two of them. And it actually was very appropriate. Here we go. We got our turtle there that's coming through the muck. And, sorry, went a little too far. There we go. And so we have a definition of the muck itself, right? Miscellaneous, underlying, crazy caca. Yeah, that is the muck. That's what we have to emerge through. And then the reminder of our own. Of our own magnificence, of the fact that we are the life that God is, the life that Spirit is, the fact that we are whole, perfect, and complete in every moment. That has an acronym meaning magnificence, understanding, clarity, and knowledge. And that's what we need to remember. That's what holds us strong in the face of diversity. That's what holds us strong, not in the face of diversity, in the face of prejudice. That's what holds us strong so that we can move through the prejudice and into diversity. That's what makes us strong, to know that there's nothing wrong with us. And one of the things that we teach here, that we in our philosophy understand at the very core of who we are, is that the grace that God is means that we don't have to change one little bit. Not one little bit. To be known by Spirit as itself as whole, perfect, and complete. So it's not that we are telling you that there is a pathway to get you there. That is not the truth for us. What we know is that that pathway is there for us to align ourselves to what is already true. That we are whole, perfect, and complete. And so I'd like to go ahead and ask Chris to come up. I'll leave the turtle up for you. And Chris is going to tell us a little bit about what he thinks about all of that.
Thank you, Reverend Scott. Good morning again. I'm still Chris Glick. I haven't changed. Like Reverend Scott, I burned the candle at both ends. So I went to bed at 2 in the morning. I thought about calling my good friend Mahesh to be the pianist, but then I thought if I did that, I'd miss out on playing behind these wonderful singers, Connie and Stefano. And I'd miss playing in the band. So I'm going to cut right to the chase of what the talk is. And Reverend Scott, the speaker will be talking more. Defining the self. Anybody who gets this as a topic, if their name is Chris Glick, is going to think I'm in a candy store. I love myself. Why? What is this? All right. You know me as a practitioner here. You know me as part of the music ministry. I want to just do something. Remember when Reverend Scott asked everybody to just kind of greet each other? If you're good with this, I'd like to just take that a little further. It's an experiential. exercise in consciousness. It's going to take like seconds. So I'll start by saying this, and this is what you're going to say to each other. Thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up. It's so good to be with you. I want you to now say that with me. Look at somebody and say it as you say this. Thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up. It's so good to be with you. Okay. Now, how do you feel? How do you guys feel? Somebody, tell me, give me an answer. Who? Great, okay. What else? What do you feel? Connection. Yes? Yes? Love, yes. Yes, okay, yes. And those, for me at least, those are what I feel, and they bring me something that I love. It's called joy. Can we agree that we feel some of that? That is the most important thing in consciousness. You are all winners. And I want to just say another thing. This came to me maybe at midnight last night, listening to a comedian talk about the creative process. He looked at the audience, just like you, and he said, this is Tom Dreesen, so I'll give his name. He says, all of you are here today because you're winners, you're fighters. You started out as 5 million, God knows, sperm cells, right? You fought. Now it was 25, now there's only 100, right? You're still fighting. There's 5 left. You're the one. So that is real. That is consciousness. That is defining. That's where you started. Are you any different than that? Not really. Think about it. Ernest Holmes, in a lecture from 1951, there was a series of lectures that he did. He talked about the definition of self. He described it as 3 parts: physical, which we call the body temple, the infrastructure. You might call it a building, like this building is like the temple. The psyche, mental, consciousness, awareness. Okay, part 3, spirit. We call this God. We call it many things. Today we called it connection. We called that idea as the 3rd part. It's kind of like the glue in this 3-part being that we are. There are 2 things that happen. When you're a child, you're going to say you're 3 years old. You see a bright red ball. You just run after it. Your face is lit up. Grab that ball. You're alive. That's who you are. You are that energy picking up that ball. Yeah, physically, your hand had to pick it up. Your body had to run. Mentally, you were just feeling joy. What directed you to that ball? Okay, we call it spirit. Intuition is a grown-up version where when I looked at this to talk about today, defining the self, to me that is, what is mine to do? So here I am, I have this physical structure, I have this mind, and I have spirit. These 3 things asks, what do I do with all this? Okay, so the answer is the way we do our lives. When I was 3 or 4 years old, my brother, myself, my younger brother, and my dad hiked in Estes Park in the Rocky Mountains, where my family had a a place, years ago. And my father pulls us quickly to the cliff, right, the inside, the mountain, not the part where you'd fall off. And he pushes us into this thing, and we didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden, there's a cloud, and it starts raining. This was a cloud burst in the west, in the mountains. Then we walked down, and somehow I was in a beaver pond. Don't ask. I was in it. I remember this. It was 3 or 4. They didn't bite me. It wasn't anything like that. I was like that kid finding the ball. I was guided by spirit through my dad to not get in the rain. I was guided by the spirit pulling me to these creatures. Nothing other than that. Physical, mental, spirit. Later, after 6th grade, summer vacation, we had middle school, 7th grade. We called it junior high. My teacher says, write an essay. What did you do this summer? Well, how do I describe fun, right? It's all fun. So I called this Me, Myself, and I. And I wrote about myself and how much fun I had. That's the energy of whatever I did. Who cares what I did? Later, and this is a later that some of us have lived with early part of our lives or whatever, I found myself behind bars, not a bar that you drink at, but a place where you're there because you did something not right. Well, I was convicted of selling drugs. A lot of people like myself who lived in the 60s, that was just part of who we were back then. So in that place, as I was learning, I was an avid reader. I had already knew who Viktor Frankl is. I knew a lot, but I had to come to terms with something else in order to grow. I did a transactional analysis class. The facilitator said on a video, tell us who you are. All I did is I said, I'm a human. I had to think, what else am I? Really. I didn't know the words that I do now, physical, mental, spiritual, but I knew there's something other than what do you do, right? It wasn't what I do. They asked me, who am I? So I said, I'm a human being. I play music, I read, I write. At that time, I may not have been, I was doing public speaking too. I was in my early 20s. So I'm just saying, these are 3 points in life where this understanding of who I am came forth. I'm not what I do, it's how I show up. Today, when I asked you to just say hi to everybody and thank everybody, thank yourselves, wow, that's showing up. That's all we do. And we are accepted, we are completely free of anything holding us back. We are free, and I will finish with this. I'll refer back to last night. Just personally, it's a pinnacle of, say, me finding out who I am, defining myself. I was told by a group of comedians that I slayed. I never heard that directed at me before. I did a 20-minute set of comedy and music, like I've been working on since the beginning of COVID, and play trumpet and piano. And these people said I slayed. Okay, at a man in his 70s, that's pretty cool. Anyway, thank you so much, and namaste. I'm going to turn it back over to Reverend Scott.
Thank you, Chris the Slayer. All right. So, Chris does his work at the Comedy Store, right? Comedy Store? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he always has interesting stories. So I'd like to just go ahead and ask Reverend Victoria Bomberry to come on up. She is one of the ministers out at Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living. And she's going to be doing a workshop afterwards also at 1 o'clock. So she's going to give us some wisdom now and give us more wisdom this afternoon.
Well, Estongo Chukayadega. And that's good morning. Reverend Victoria Bomberry, Chehefkaros. My name is Reverend Victoria Bomberry. And I'm greeting you in my language, which is Muskogee. And I'm so glad that I can show up as a Muskogee woman as part of my identity this morning at this wonderful center. And, you know, I think it's true. The center has an energy that is so welcoming and warm. And, you know, you can always tell when there's practitioners in the house because there's something that is grounding and is just truth that permeates the entire place. So thank you so much, Chris, for providing that this morning and setting the tone for us so beautifully. You know, I've been waiting all week, really, you know, since last Sunday to find out what was going to win. I was like, wow, you know, I kind of thought about it a whole lot. And I was like, and I couldn't come up with anything quite as icky as what I saw in the newsletter. I thought, you guys really did a good job. Mine were pretty gross, but, you know, you got the icky down. And at the same time, you know, I kind of went in the other direction at the same time. It was like, okay, there's the muck and all that ickiness, but even that ickiness, not just ourselves, but even that ickiness has the magnificence in it. That's life, right? All of life has that, just that incredible potential to have us grow through it, and grow as a result of it. And, you know, I'm not a big proponent of suffering, but, you know, we do go through things in our life that cause hurt and pain as we move through it. But we do come out on the other side of it as our magnificent selves, magnified, right? And no matter how often we have something happen to us, or we have a loss, or something that, you know, we fail at, you know, spectacularly, we go through that. And if we're open, we grow. So those two things, they seem like paradoxes, right? Those two statements about what muck is, those acronyms. But it is a spiritual truth. And Richard Rohr reminds us that spiritual truths are often paradoxical. So, Reverend Scott, I don't know how you thought that up, but you really put me through it. And it was good. It was so good. Thank you so much. And, you know, I love this whole idea of merging through pride and with pride, you know, because there's so many things, just as Reverend Scott said, that we've been conditioned to think about ourselves in certain ways. And, depending on when we grow up, what the historical period is, all kinds of stuff is a part of this. And, today we're talking about defining ourselves. And last week, Reverend Scott talked about transcending limits. So there's all these limits that can be placed on us by outside forces. But, our work is always to define ourselves at any point in time. Sometimes I think, oh, well, didn't I define myself pretty much when I was in my 20s? Well, partially, and I can move through every decade and think about that, It's a constant state of defining ourselves, right? It's constant. And it can be really fun. It's part of this game of life, to find out who we are in different instances. And, come out of the other side knowing who we truly are is that beautiful, beautiful emanation of God, right? That's what happens, I think, at every point, we see that. I remember thinking as a young girl or young girl, teenager, I really didn't look like all those girls in the magazines, I wasn't at all like them. I had a different kind of body and different coloring and different hairstyle. I mean, everything, right? Everything was different. And I wondered, well, where am I beautiful? Where do I show up as beautiful? And, I found out that, well, beauty really is in the eye of the beholder. What seems to be a norm in one group may not be a norm in another. And in my own community, I was considered, beautiful. So that was wonderful that I got that kind of affirmation in my own identity group. But, we're so much more than that as well. We're more than our identity groups. So, as we're celebrating Pride Month, oh, yes, that is an identity group, and it is something that we are so happy to support and love, and, just see the evolution of that whole movement to be accepted in the world. And, everyone goes through some sort of version of being the outsider at some point. And if we think about it, what is a norm anyway? There really is no norm. I have a dear friend who was a young girl, and she's Native Hawaiian. And as a young girl, she was kind of angry at her surroundings because she watched television and she watched the Donna Reed show, and her family was not at all like the Donna Reed family. And, they were boisterous Hawaiians that, did all kinds of things and, that were antithetical to the Donna Reed family. And yet, as she moved through that and established her own identity, she became one of the most powerful Native Hawaiian leaders and political leaders in Hawaii in her lifetime. So we move through these things and we come to our strength. And I love the song that was presented this morning because it doesn't matter what we go through. We have at our core that incredible strength, that incredible drive to live, right? That's what we're born into. As soon as we're born, we've said yes to life, right? We could have said no, but we emerge, right? We're emerging, and we say yes when we take our first breath. We say yes to life, whatever it looks like, and for however long it might be. We say yes to life. So that's our work here, always to say yes to this wonderful, magnificent thing that we call life that is all too brief, right? And so beautiful, so beautiful. And I'm saying that now, it's all too brief, you know, and I'm in my 7th decade. And I remember as a child, I would hear older people speaking, and they would say, well, you know, you wake up one morning and you're way down the road, you know, it's all over. And I was like, what? It's Sunday and nothing is happening. This day is like a week long, you know. I don't believe it, and I'm not going to, you know. I didn't believe it for many, many years. And even now, I don't really believe it because I feel like my life has been so full. And it's been full of all kinds of things. You know, I've had, you know, some people will say, well, you're so lucky. Well, yeah, I'm very lucky. I've had all kinds of luck, both good and not so good, right? But it's been who I am, right? It's been my life. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm grateful for those experiences that have brought me to this very moment. Now, during Pride Month, I've been I've been going back and reading some of my favorite authors, and mainly from the 20th century and into this part of the 21st century too. But I looked at James Baldwin, you know, and I thought about James Baldwin because he was such an influential thinker, and he was so deep, you know, and he was born about a year before my own father was born. And, you know, I know the kind of life my father was born into. It was hard, you know, going through not only economic hard times, but the kinds of prejudice that people had to deal with at that time. And James Baldwin, as this bright, bright light, this genius, never let his light go out. He continued to explore. He continued to radiate his brilliance at whatever he took on. Writing about himself, his own experience, in a very powerful way. Writing novels, poems, essays, having a great influence on the civil rights movement. You know, coming to explore what his sexuality was. And, you know, what he writes about as far as his sexuality goes is that what he has put into print, what he has talked about, is loving. How do we learn to love? That's how he characterized his work. How do we learn to love? So he didn't really talk about himself as a gay man per se within that culture or identity as a gay man. He talked about who he loved and how he loved. And he said he felt comfortable with that. And he said he didn't have any problem with how other people presented it or how they came through it and what kind of support they got through this burgeoning gay movement. But for him, it was something different. It was how he learned to love in his life. So I think that his quote that I'm going to ask that goes up on the board, you have to go the way your blood beats. If you don't live the only life you have, you won't live some other life. You won't live any life at all. And I think that is so true, right? We can't live anybody else's life. You know, we can't step into Donna Reed's family and have that television family and that perfection, right? It doesn't exist. That is not a norm of any, by any stretch of the imagination. We can only live who we are. And when we can feel our own heartbeats and we can understand that we are so unique and we are so beautiful, and we all have something to contribute that is magnificent, whether it is something as small as a beautiful smile, or it's something as awesome as your energy, making the room warm and welcoming to everyone. Whatever it is, everyone has a gift. And I'm particularly fond of those beautiful cooks that we have who put all that love in the food, and you can get their recipes all you want, but you can never make the same dish. You all know what I mean, right? That is some real love, and that is a unique gift. But everyone has one. Everyone has that uniqueness. Everyone has something that is so precious, and it is your own unique beat of your heart, beat of your blood coursing through your body. I was thinking about, well, what do we do? What do I do when I'm defining myself? And I've done different things over the years. I'm kind of a person who thinks a lot, and sometimes I like to make lists, and I never could bring myself to say journaling for years, because that just seemed kind of weird, to keep a journal. That sounded like someone who was on a sea voyage or something. But I decided, okay, I'm going to call it something different. I'm going to call it my personal writing. And maybe no one will ever see it, and hopefully they won't, But I'm just going to write whatever comes out of my head, right? And I'm just going to put it down on paper and see what happens. So I later learned that some people call that morning pages, right? If you do it in the morning. I may do it at any time of the day, but, writing that stream of consciousness and just kind of paying attention to my thoughts and going back and looking at, well, what was I thinking? What was I saying about myself? What did I value? And, looking at that and finding out, what are these thought patterns that I have? What are the ones that are lifting me up and helping me achieve what I know that I'm here to do? And what are those things that are getting in the way? Am I saying things about myself that are not true? And if I am, well, I can identify them because I wrote it down, I jotted it down. And I can see very easily, oh, okay, I've said that like 50 times over the past year. What's that about? Why am I doing that? And then becoming aware of it and making a conscious effort to change that thought, to stop doing it. Just stop doing it. And, what do we call that in science of mind? Well, we say change your thinking, change your life, right? Exactly. And it's pretty easy, actually, to jot things down, pay attention, become aware. And that's part of how we begin to self-identify ourselves, do that self-definition, because we don't want anyone else to do that for us, right? I don't know what I would be if someone was identifying me on the street. They might identify me as a shoplifter, which I have been identified in stores before as a shoplifter when I was just trying to look at something. Well, no, I'm not a shoplifter. I'm a shopper. I've got some money in my pocket that I want to spend in this store, right? And so we can't let others identify us. We have to be who we are, and we have to take the reins in that. We can't sit back and just allow that to happen. Now, we all have that impetus to live. And I recently went on a pilgrimage to the border. And it was called the Border Experience. And it was an interfaith group that took this pilgrimage. And, I just wanted to see for myself what is happening on the border. There's all this talk about these hordes of people who are rushing the border and who, want to get into the country, and, they've been labeled in all kinds of ways. And, I wanted to see for myself what did it look like. And it was right as Title 42 was being lifted, and it was expected that there would be a huge run on the border. So I went with a group, and we went to visit a shelter in Mexicali, and we went to Calexico as well to see what was happening there in the detention centers. And what I didn't see hordes of people. I didn't see that at all. I saw people who were desiring to live a life. To live a life. And many of them, in their testimony, they talked about the violence that they were fleeing. Some were fleeing gang violence. Some were climate refugees. Their lands had been decimated by drought, by mining, extraction, all kinds of things. And they could no longer make a life where they were. And in desperation, they made this perilous journey to the border. And they were seeking asylum in the U.S. And, they talked about the difficulties of getting an appointment to press their case in the courts. And when I came back, I found out that several of the people in that shelter had finally been able to get an appointment to apply for asylum in the United States. And, I got a completely different view up close about what was going on there and who the people are and what motivated them and how they were self-defining themselves. They weren't criminals. They weren't rapists. They weren't flim-flam artists just trying to get over the border with flimsy excuses for asylum. They were people who had an experience, and they were doing their best to redefine their own experience. And it was so moving, and it was so inspiring to see how the people in that shelter worked together. Everyone had a job, and the cooks are going to come up again. Everyone had a job that rotated. The shelter ran really well. They had people who took out the trash, people who took care of the children, people who ran the clinic. I mean, every job was taken up in that they rotated, all except the cooks. The cooks were the cooks. And I think I know why, because they nourished not only the bodies of the people, but the spirits of the people. So in that self-defining, they defined an entire community of people who did not know one another, who came together in this place, and they created a community. And what could be more powerful than that? And that's what we do at Centers for Spiritual Living, right? We create our community. We define ourselves according to those God qualities that we uncover as we grow and as we mature. Now, I just want to call your attention to another quote by Ernest Holmes. And if you could put that up. Faith is a mental attitude which is so convinced of its own idea, which so completely accepts it, that any contradiction is unthinkable and impossible. Now, those people had faith when they set out from their homes. They had faith and they were convinced of this idea that they could have a better life, that they could make a better life wherever they landed. Of course, the goal was to come to the United States because, there's a lot of mythic value about the United States, right? The streets are paved with milk and honey, and, everything is there. But, this has been going on for a long time. And some people have settled in different places and created communities, just like I described in Mexicali. Have created communities, neighborhoods, barrios that are powerful and strong. But at the back of that was their faith that they could create something better. Now that is what we call creating a mental equivalent, right? Something better, something amazing. Well, in this self-defining process, a few years ago, after going through ministerial school and all of that, and, kind of thinking like, gee, I'm jumping through all these hoops, and I'm kind of asking people, am I doing it right, and all that kind of thing. And I kind of got to a place where it's like, you know what, I'm just who I am. This is who I am. This is how I show up. And this is how I understand science of mind. And of course, it's sprinkled through my own identity. It's filtered through that. And I find those places that I resonate with truth. And that's who I am. That's who I show up as. I am who I am. So I love this quote by Sandra Cisneros. I've put up with too much, too long, and now I'm just too intelligent, too powerful, too beautiful, too sure of who I am, finally, to deserve anything less. So I hope that we go out from today knowing that, yes, we've done our work, wherever we are in our journey. And when we come out of that muck and emerge, let's have that jubilee and say, yes, I've put up with too much. I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, and I'm living my life as me. And so it is. And let's turn within. And let's take that deep God breath. That breath that is so refreshing and is a reminder that God is always closer to us than our breath. And as I breathe God in, I know I am one with God. I am one with that magnificence, that good. And this is true for me, and it's true for each and every person in this sanctuary, online. Anyone who is taking a breath today is breathing God in this very moment. And I know as we define ourselves that we keep our eye on the magnificence that we are. That we come together in community, in relationship, to lift one another up, to see one another as who we are, to love one another as we are. in any given moment. Because we know in the depths of our being that the reality is something that is far beyond what we can imagine, far more beautiful, far bigger than anything that we've experienced as in this human form. And yet we are all of that. All of that. And I accept this good. I allow it to be. I allow it to work in me and through me and as me. And I am completely one with God, one with creation, one with each and every person who walks this earth, one with the ancestors, one with life. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Victoria. Let's go ahead and give her another hand. And so now's the time for our conscious contributions. And so if you are here today, there are offering envelopes in the pew, and we would love for you to put your name on that so we know who it comes from. And we have, is that Ruby? Yes, Ruby, and we have Jackie that are coming up with our plates for you to give your offering to. If you are online, there are 3 ways for you to give. One is to go to ahiah.com/donate. There are a couple of electronic ways to do your giving there. You can always text to give to 616, not 626, but 616-229-2225. Just text the word give and it will ask for all the information to get you going. Or you can always mail in a check to our address showing on the screen here. And you know, I love to get little love notes when you do that. It makes my day, makes my week actually. So however you do that, let's go ahead and take that virtually to our heart. And we have a blessing showing up on your screen here. Let's say that together. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so we've got Connie and Stefana here again. Let's hear what they've got for us, got in store for us. I'm starting to fade, I think, a little bit.
Running hot, running cold. I was running into overload. It was extreme. I took it so high, so low, there was nowhere to go like a bad dream. Somehow the wires uncrossed, the tables were turned. Never knew I had such a lesson to learn. I'm feeling good from my head to my shoes. Know where I'm going and I know what to do. I've tidied up my point of view. I've got a new attitude. control, my worries are few. 'Cause I've got love like I never knew. Oh, 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 oh. I've got a new attitude. I'm wearing a new dress, new hat, brand new ideas. As a matter of fact, I had changed for good. And must have been a cool night, new moon, slight change for them to figure out that I feel like I should. Somehow the wires uncrossed, my tables were turned. Never knew I had such a lesson to learn. I'm feeling good from my head to my shoes. Know where I'm going and I know what to do. I've tidied up my point of view. I've got a new attitude. I'm in control, my worries are few. 'Cause I've got love like I never knew. Oh, 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 oh. I've got a new attitude. Oh, 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 oh. That's the Sunday Ahiah Band, y'all. Somehow the wires uncrossed, the tables were turned. Never knew I had such a lesson to learn. I'm feeling good from my head to my shoes. Know where I'm going and I know what to do. I tidied up my point of view. I've got a new attitude. I'm in control, my worries are few. 'Cause I've got love like I never knew. Oh, 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 oh. I've got a new attitude. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. I've got a new attitude.
Yes. I think that's what I needed. That took me back to the dance clubs of West Hollywood. My goodness. Yes. So let's give our youth some music. Come on up. Come on up, guys. You know, I often say that our youth program is not a babysitting service. These guys do some real work, and we love that they do it playfully and they enjoy it. So we're going to give this over to Lisa.
Hey, good morning. I know we're so quiet back there. You didn't even know we were back there. First of all, we're just going to do introductions real quick. So we're going to say our name, our age, and our favorite color, or at least one of our favorite colors.
Hi, my name is Gavin. I am 2 weeks away from being 15, and my favorite color is blue.
Yeah, Gavin.
I'm Perry. I'm 14, and my favorite color is red.
Red. They're twins.
I'm Phoebe. I'm 14, and my favorite color is green.
I'm Sophia. I'm 14. My favorite color is blue.
I'm Alex. I'm 13, and one of my favorite colors is aqua.
Aqua.
I'm Susan. I forget the second question, and my favorite color is blue.
My name is Harper. I'm 7, and my favorite color is blue.
My name is Leah. I'm 10, and my favorite color is green.
I'm Alejandra, and my favorite, and I'm 8, and my favorite color is green, the rainbow.
Yes.
I'm Gracie. I'm 2 weeks to being 12, and my favorite color is pink.
Yes.
Thank you. Great job. Also, the first 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is our campers. So again, thank you so much for helping them get there. I have a couple of announcements. We had some more requests for wind chimes, so we thought we'd close that shop, but of course we opened it right back up. So if anybody wants a wind chime, please get in touch with me or Reverend Scott. Excuse me, and let us know, and we will make some to order. So thank you again for that. They're $20 a piece. They're all handmade, and they sound beautiful.
Yeah.
One more thing, if you are feeling called to participate in any way, and that can look, it has many different looks to volunteer in the youth church. We're going to have a meeting, an open meeting for volunteers that we currently have and any that might be interested. And that will be a Zoom meeting on June 20th at 7 o'clock. And it will be on our Zoom, our family Zoom on the Ahiah website. And I'm going to turn over to Susan really quick, and she's going to talk about what we did today.
Thank you, Lisa. Actually, 2 of our Sunday school students or members are going to tell you what we did today because they wanted to share it.
Mm-hmm.
Today we made cards that, had sayings on it, and we decorated it in the way that we like to, and we're gonna pass them out because we want to share these messages. And one of mine is be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, girls. Actually, what we talked about was the evolution of love. And what is evolution? We talked about that first. And then we talked about what evolution would be without love, which we decided would be pretty miserable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're passing out the cards, because it was our time today to share with you our love. So
Yes.
that was our message.
I love it.
Thank you. Also, thank you to Susan, who is an amazing volunteer that comes every Sunday. And we love her very much. And Malachi, who's cleaning up the paint. We made a beautiful banner for Juneteenth for next weekend. So we'll all get to share that. So that's what he's busy doing. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Can't be out of the
All right.
limelight.
Thank you, Malachi.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, and while we have Susan up here, last week we had a paint and sip food, fundraiser, which was absolutely magnificent. I have never painted a brush stroke in my life, and this is a picture of my painting.
Can you believe that?
And my husband, who is a painter, looked at it and went, "Oh, that's pretty good."
It was all about the instructor.
Absolutely it was. So thank you. And we made a profit of $656.54 to help in sending our teens to teen camp coming up next month. So thank you so much, Susan, for all of your effort and for the donation of the supplies too.
Yes. Susan not only donated her time, but all the supplies too. So.
All right. Thank you, guys. Just a few more announcements. We have today, we have Reverend Victoria Bomberry. I'm going to hand the microphone to her. She's going to tell us a little bit about her workshop.
I guess I'm following you.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I love this. Today, be kind to yourself. Yes. Well, the workshop today starts at 1, and it's going to be a lot of experiential. And we're going to be talking about what it means to live in the sacred and how we do that, in the world that we live in now, where we see a lot of things that are happening that are, the culture has come through something that has desacralized nature. Right? So we're going to go deep into that and connect again with our environment, with the nature that we live in. And we're going to be making some bundles, and we're going to be doing a medicine shield. So that will be the fun things that we're doing, and you don't have to listen to me talk the whole time.
Yes.
So that's even better. We'll be doing some hands-on things. So I hope you all can come.
What I love about Reverend Victoria is she brings to this workshop the knowledge and the innate wisdom of the first people. It's a $20 love offering. A love offering means nobody is turned away. So, we would love for you to be there no matter what. So that is at 1 o'clock. It'll be in the fellowship hall right back there. And we'll also be doing some stuff in the meditation garden. So I want to remind you about Juneteenth. Is Nancy Johnson here, by the way? No. Okay, she didn't come. All right. So we have a whole group of people who is putting together quite the shindig next week. So we're going to have food. We've got dancers. We've got information about the Juneteenth experience. We have cultural information, and best of all, we just get together and be together. And eat some good food and have some good fellowship. So that is next week, right after service, we'll be doing that. The following week, on the 25th, we got a lot going on the 25th. If you have become a new member of Ahiah in the last 3 years, because we haven't had a new member Sunday since 2020. And so if you have become a new member at Ahiah, we have about 20 folks that they're in that category. We would love for you to be here during service. So I'm especially speaking to those of you who are online right now. Come to service next week, and we have a special ceremony that we're going to do during the service. We have the 25th. What did I say? Oh, no, it's 2 weeks, yes. So 2 weeks from now, on the 25th, come to service and come to the fellowship afterwards. The Board of Trustees is putting together a shindig for that week, too. So we got 2 shindigs in two weeks, right? And then we also, that week, we have Helen Yee is going to be doing a second of her numerology, guidance in numerology. We had 20-some people. Helen's back there waving all the way back in the fellowship hall. So she put on a great show last time, and we're going to just get into that a little bit deeper. So we would love for you to be there. And then Michael Mayo, who's over from England, he is a medium there, and he's got 2 other mediums that are renting the sanctuary that same day. And so this is a $40 hard price. Normally for our things, Ahiah things, we do love offerings. This is actually $40 for a ticket. You can do it through our ahiah.com/workshops. There's a link to their webpage, where you can buy the ticket. But we had something back in 2020, before the pandemic, right before the pandemic, that was here. Similar venue. I found it fascinating. I enjoyed it a lot. So if that's something that you're interested in, come on down. And then in July, we have another workshop coming up from Christine Wong, also known as Sky, on mind energy balancing. And then we are also on, what's the date here? July 22nd, I think, yeah. And that's a Saturday. We mostly do our workshops on Sunday, but she actually can't be here on Sundays, so we're doing it on a Saturday. It's going to be a sound bath. She's got a lot of bowls. She's an expert in doing that for us in order to put us into a place of centeredness and peace. So we've got the QR codes for all of these things. You can sign up on our registration sites for that. And it's also at ahiah.com/workshops. And last of all, we have at the Hollywood Bowl, we're selling tickets for Gladys Knight. And so I'll be going to that. I'm going to be having a lot of fun. That is all the way out on August 16th at 8 p.m. And tickets are actually kind of going fast. So if you want one of these tickets, go to the website. You can do the QR code right here. And or go to ahiah.com/workshops, and you'll find the registration there. We'll remind you of the book study and the healing circle on Wednesdays. And if you want to, I'd like to ask our practitioners to come up along the hall, the aisle here, so you can see them. We have, it looks like we've got Jackie and we have Chris here this week. If you would like prayer on anything, if there's anything heavy on your heart today, please see one of them after service. They do 3 to 5 minute miracle prayers, and they are wonderful. So we'll do those in here afterwards. If you would like to contact one of our practitioners some other time during the week, you can go to ahiah.com/meetourpractitioners in order to get the information. We also do ministry of prayer online, so you can go to ahiah.com/prayers and put in a prayer request, and only the ministers and practitioners ever see those requests. We do dial a prayer. You can go to our website, or you can call into our main number. And so I'd like to go ahead and ask Connie and Stefana come back up, and they're going to lead us in our final song. So why don't we go ahead and stand up for that.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Now I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see a light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Thank you. So we've got the benediction showing up on the screen. Let's say it together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it, and I share it. Just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. So thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful being with you. We have coffee and donuts in the fellowship hall. I know, sugar and caffeine. What can go wrong there? But I'll be meeting you there. If you are online, I'm going to be on the Zoom channel in just a few minutes. I'd love to see you there. And otherwise, I will see you next week. Thank you, everyone. I love you. And namaste.